Oh boy. Alright. Well, let's get into this hot garbage. Hello, Asmon. How you doing, bro? Apparently we're going into civil war over Star Wars. Oh man, it's a good time for React content.
Caused Star Wars fandom to plunge into civil war. We're now in a time where journalism no longer means what it used to. All integrity is lost.
What? You mean journalists that are just as bad as the fist thumping virtue signaling have no integrity? No. Oh man. 11 seconds in and I know this is going to be good. This is going to be a long one, by the way.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, right? He has written slanderous articles about me both on forums and his personal social media. Oh no. The shit talking retard is shit talking? Oh, this is gonna be good.
Disney defenders.
Man, imagine being this bent out of shape over your lesbian space witches not selling.
Wrote a whole thing to YouTubers trying to get them deplatformed from YouTube because they didn't like the Acolyte.
Yeah, well, you can try to silence criticism all you want. At the end of the day, you're still a mediocre producer and your show still sucks, so. I mean, I don't gotta live your life. And thank God for that.
They coordinated a campaign against them.
That is admittedly a kind of funny title. Less funny are the people putting whiny aggressive comments on family photos on my Instagram every time this happens. Well, I mean, yeah, you're gonna start some shit, you're gonna get some weirdos. I get weirdos all the time on my fucking Facebook. I get weirdos all the time messaging me weird shit. If you're gonna put yourself out there, you gotta be able to deal with people being fucking stupid.
This is the most annoying fucking thing that I see happen nowadays with, like, media, is that any time that a person criticizes another person, that other person will get harassed. If I criticize somebody...
Yeah, it is fucking stupid, but it is what it is. Like, if you disagree with somebody, especially if they have a following, you're gonna end up getting a bunch of stupid people throwing dirt at you. It's the world we live in. It's fucking stupid, but it is what it is. Like, I mean... And this is gonna be a huge L take that I have, but if you really don't want to be harassed, don't put yourself out there. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're gonna be harassed. Like, if you can't handle the fire, get out of the kitchen. Especially if you're going to be talking about things that could potentially have very different opinions from very different people, you're going to get a lot of opinions. And what do people who have opinions do? They get emotional and they get angry and they do stupid things. It's just...
Somebody's actions, they will get harassed. It will happen, guaranteed. I promise you it will happen.
Yep, every
and if somebody
time.
criticizes me, I will get harassed. Because of that criticism.
Yep, we live in a time now where if you disagree with a virtue signaling shit talking retard, you're gonna get death threats. It's just, there's so many mentally ill people in the world now, and they have access to the internet, and they're very loud, and they're very proud of being fucking stupid.
Say that you can't criticize people because then they get harassed is to say that you cannot critically evaluate any person at all.
Right?
Which is ridiculous.
We all live in a fucking box now. You can't criticize me. I can't criticize you. We can't disagree on things because, oh no, our feelings are gonna get hurt. Shut up. Get fucked. Fuck that. Fuck you. Fuck that bullshit. Fuck you and your stupid box. I'm coming into that damn box and I'm telling you to shut the fuck. Like, no. Criticism and disagreeing are fundamentals of being human. How do we grow as a species if we think we are beyond criticism? How do you think we grow as people if we think our shit don't stink? If we think that we are better than everybody else? That whole fundamental idea already makes you not better than anybody else. It makes you a piece of shit. If you think you are beyond opinions and you think you are beyond any type of criticism, you're already lost.
It's very obvious when you're talking about a person who is enabling and encouraging legitimate harassment.
Yeah, and that's another thing. So, by enabling this behavior, you are evidently causing more damage than criticizing it. By allowing this type of behavior to continue, you are actively participating in making the situation worse. It's ironic. By allowing a bunch of shit-talking retards to continue being shit-talking retards, you're enabling that behavior, and what you're doing is you're normalizing it, and now we have a problem. Anyway, fuck, it's already been 7 minutes, and we haven't even got a minute into this. This is going to be a long one.
Versus somebody who is just simply being critical of an action that you took. There have been a lot of times that I've made videos about people and they've been harassed because of the video that I made. I'm not sorry for a single fucking one of them, and I would do it again, and I will.
Always.
Because I'm not making the videos for those people to get harassed. I'm criticizing them because I think they're doing...
Well, and you can't just do things and try to tiptoe around the thought that a few thousand retards are gonna lose their mind and go be retards. We don't have to fucking tiptoe around sociopaths in order to make them feel comfortable. Make your videos, make your content, disagree with that thing, do you and live your fucking life, and let the shit-talking retards be retards.
something wrong, or I disagree with what they're saying. And if they make a video and they make a tweet, like for example, do you remember that guy that made the tweet about how I had reacted to his video and he didn't like it and then I DM'd him, I took down the video? Well, when I did that, a lot of people harassed
It's like
me
a
over
million
that tweet.
times, yeah.
Is that his fault? Abso-fucking-lutely not. Because he didn't tell people to harass me. He didn't push for that. He didn't do anything. It's not his fault at all. So, and
well, that's another thing. Like, you also have to be ready to take accountability and responsibility. Like, if you do something that, you know, causes an action, yeah, of course you're going to have to take accountability and, you know, there's consequences to every action, right?
I'm not mad at him. That's his opinion. Monster Hunter Blindfold. Yeah, exactly. That girl got harassed because I criticized her. That's the way it goes. Creators are not responsible for their audience. You are never responsible for the actions of another person. Like, unless you're paying them or telling them to do it, then you're not responsible for what they're doing. It's not a spectrum.
No, and grown-ass adults should be able to have the...
yeah, but...
and I say should with a very grain of salt, should be able to have...
on the internet, it's...
I'm trying to pause it in a way that Asmo doesn't look weird. Anyway, and you would think that most adults should have some sense of responsibility, but reality is often disappointing because what the internet has shown me is that there are a lot of grown-ass adults that clearly missed the class where you're supposed to not be a complete psychopath and have some accountability and self-respect and not be crazy. But, like I said, or like Asman said, we can't control what other people do. Thank God for that.
It seems all the mass death threats and attempts to deplatform myself from Molly and others where he advocates for in the Forbes article. Where does he advocate?
And this is always a funny thing about the people that go and claim that the people that are criticizing them are toxic, bigot assholes when they're the ones who go and send death threats to people's family and try to deplatform them or try to get them fired. It's honestly shocking to me that people don't even see their own delusions. Actually, that whole statement was ironic. Of course, they can't see their delusions. They're delusional. But it's like you can't even see that your actions are actively worse. You're getting upset that someone disagreed with your opinion on a TV show or a video game. So your response to that is to personally send death threats, harass, and essentially try to ruin their life. You're fucking insane.
Advocating for this. They ask us to denounce
Like, what the
this and
fuck?
blame us to control millions of people, yet they're silent when it happens to us. Creators are absolutely responsible if veiled threats are made or downright telling them to do things. Your audience does it without any incitement. That's on them. Exactly. Well, yeah. I mean, of course, if you're inciting people and telling people to do something, then yeah, you have responsibility for that. Everybody knows that.
Obviously.
But when
Like,
you're
why
just
are we even
criticizing
talking
a
about
person and
that?
saying what they're doing is wrong, then you're not at fault when that person gets harassed. I think this is just like every normal.
Man, and I get harassed on a daily basis, and I'm just a fucking nobody, right? But I do voice certain opinions, and I understand that by having these opinions, I'm going to get harassment. But I'm not afraid of it. Like, I'm genuinely not concerned about a few shit talking retards that are gonna send me death threats. They're not gonna actually pursue it. Like, come on. What, you think I'm afraid of some basement dwelling Twitter loser that's upset and says he's going to come and stab me? Fucking try, dude. Like,
Normal person knows this, right? Like, it was a nuance that I didn't think that we'd have to get into because most people here are adults, but yes, that's clearly the obvious difference.
adults. Yeah, right.
Lie, defame me. Should be sent to my legal team. Video exposes lies. Okay. What's this? Maybe some days boys will take accountability for the harassment. The only thing that was wrong that I think that anybody did is asking for people like Star Wars Theory to be deplatformed. Right? Critical thinker, critical drinker, excuse me, nerdrotic, like Star Wars Theory, the axis of evil, for like the acolyte enjoyers. These people should have never, they should not be deplatformed. They have every right to have whatever opinion they want. It's insane that this is even a top.
And I'm gonna have a hot take. Oh god. I keep pausing. Sorry, Aswan. I'm gonna have a hot take that a lot of people just can't grasp. So if you really enjoy something, by demonizing people that don't like it, all you're going to do is create more people that don't like it. You're actively destroying the thing you care about by being a piece of shit. Like, and then then you act shocked when the company doesn't want to waste money producing the show anymore because you've actively pushed people out of participating in it, and now there's not enough people that watch the show. Like, you're fucking stupid.
Someone say, is this your Sith era theory? And I'm like,
Yeah.
when did it become okay to constantly berate someone for years, and then if you answer back, that's your Sith era? No, that's just standing up for yourself. Or
No, you can't stand up for yourself anymore. You can't disagree. You can't have an opinion unless it actively is the same as someone else's worldviews, who don't actually go out in society and live life, but they want to try to dictate social norms. No, 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 no. You can't do any of this anymore. What? I'm being sarcastic, obviously. I feel like I have to mention that I'm being sarcastic.
Replying. That's literally all it is.
And you know what I think at this point? If logic and reason are no longer a thing, fuck reason. You know what? You want to be a shit-talking retard? Fine, we'll be shit-talking retards too. We'll all be shit-talking retards. We'll all just have our dicks out on the table, and we'll just all be dicks.
You know, if you're provoked, I think it's fair game to be able to say your piece back. So anyways, that's what I did.
Everybody be living in a glass house and throwing rocks, bro.
Returning in live action, which I think would be pretty dope. But of course,
Yeah, what's the problem?
This guy, the Forbes guy, Paul Tassi, goes ahead and makes another tweet. Use incognito mode for porn. I use it to check on channels that make videos about me that I do not want in my algorithm. Well, thanks
Is
anyways.
this problematic? What's wrong?
What? By the way, using incognito mode doesn't really affect the algorithm of what you view. It just doesn't save the sites you visited in your history. Like, what is this person talking about? Again, shit talking retards, man.
With that? He doesn't like you. Obviously, he doesn't like you.
And oh no, you viewed a video and it might show up on your feed once. If you don't actively keep interacting with the content, it's not going to keep showing up on the algorithm. Just because you watched it once in order to make a shitty fucking tweet doesn't mean it's going to show up on your feed permanently. Like, oh boy, we're 5 minutes in, 16 minutes in, and it's just like, there's a lot to unpack here.
For the view, man, and his comments are just, well, they speak for themselves. Anyway,
It's admittedly funny. What does this say again? Less people funny putting whiny aggressive comments on family photos on my Instagram every time this happens. Yeah, this is stupid.
I mean,
Like, obviously,
I completely agree that it's stupid to go and comment on people's family photos and send death threats. Like, this isn't okay on either end of the spectrum. If you don't agree with someone's opinion, I feel like you have two options. You can make a point and have a comeback, or you can shut your fucking goddamn mouth.
if somebody makes it, like, if you post a public article, you have to accept that people are going to criticize and talk about that article. That's just what's going to happen. Unless he's telling people to harass you, and if he is, you should report him to YouTube and get him banned.
Duh.
It's that simple, right? No shot. Yeah, it's that simple.
There are very simple and very easy ways to avoid shit like this. But people actively choose not to do it. And then they want to victimize themselves. I have no sympathy for people that do this. It's like, bro, there are so many options. If you don't want to see this shit, there are things you could do to solve it. But instead, you go to Twitter and be a shit-talking retard instead. It's like, okay, cool.
Can't handle it, leave. Well, the thing is that it's weird because I think that Star Wars Theory is being kind of melodramatic about this. But I also think that Paul Tassi is being unreasonable as well by saying that he's being harassed and he's trying to connect like negative comments on like family photos on his Instagram, like as if Star Wars Theory supports this, right? And that's the issue. It's the implication that in any universe he supports this.
Anyways, that video was an opener to the real video, which I'm glad you're now all familiar with him. So this is, I would say, part of the problem. I would say essentially this is kind of where all of this rhetoric leads to when it comes to trying to deplatform people, which is
where's
scumbag
deplatforming?
move anyways. Weak move from Molly.
True, but let's see it.
Part of that. But this kind of journalism is really
Don't
what
drink the
is
Kool-Aid,
setting the
guys.
narrative for the weak-minded
Not a
people
sponsor.
who just kind of follow the sheep.
Oh,
And
no,
I believe
I'm
that
out.
It's
No.
just not helpful. I think there's a lot of gatekeeping in this kind of journalism, which we're going to get into.
This is the worst day of my life. I'm out of Kool-Aid. Fuck, I gotta go to the store. I gotta leave. Okay, anyway. Just kidding.
To right here. And
I think that he's right
Oopsies.
about that there is a lot of gatekeeping of things like this that happen, where, like, people think that you're not allowed to have certain opinions about, like, shows. Like, you saw that with The Witcher, you saw that with the Star Wars Acolyte. It's very common.
just
Damn
needs
it.
to stop, I think. I think we need to have
Now
better
it just has
writers or
essence
people
of
who have maybe
Kool-Aid.
more of an open mind or aren't so set to just one sect of a certain fandom and are able to see things from maybe a little bit more of a logical and reasonable perspective.
A question.
Hang on.
Question.
I spilled
Making their
water.
company look more and
all
more
over
shitty.
my
But hey,
keyboard
you're
here.
giving me some...
It's gonna get weird for a second. Sorry.
Acolyte caused Star Wars fandom to plunge into civil war. We're now in a time.
All right. I'll get back to where we were. I just had to wipe the Kool-Aid off my desk, you know.
That
Civil War, which, yeah, I think that's...
he's right about that there is a lot of gatekeeping of
There
things
we
like
go.
this that happen, where, like, people think that you're not allowed to have certain opinions about, like, shows.
And I hate stuff like that. Like, the fact that people think you're not allowed to have a certain viewpoint on things just because it doesn't align with your worldviews is a very Nazi-like opinion. Excuse me.
It's like you saw that with The Witcher, you saw that with the Star Wars Acolyte. It's very common.
just needs to stop, I think. I think we need to have better writers or people who have maybe more of an open mind or aren't so set to just one sect of a certain fandom and are able to see things from maybe a little bit more of a logical and reasonable perspective.
Two videos
that
of
maybe some
context
people
you're
just-
missing? What am I missing? They contacted YouTube to deplatform me? Okay. Star Wars Explained tries to demonetize Star Wars Theory. Is this it?
And I know Alex is behind all this, but he's just such a sackless guy that he just. I see that they've lumped
Team
me in
YouTube.
with some of my colleagues and friends online to have our channels demonetized and essentially sending a letter to YouTube to abolish,
What a
destroy.
fucking
And it
pussy
took me
thing
almost
to
2
do.
years to get there. Really, the best
What
tip
a,
I-
what a fucking bitch. You have no argument to stand on, so you're just going to try to ruin someone's income? What a fucking pussy. So pathetic.
I really like yeah, getting people demonetized is bad, and YouTube said they're not going to do it, and that's a good thing. But what does this have to do with Paul Tassi? I'm not seeing him tweet about this at all. He's not talking about this anywhere. So he came in later. Well, then where is it? Because, like, if you're getting mad at one guy because you're getting harassed by this group of people, I don't see it. He does? Well, where is it? The end of the first video you watched? Okay. Let's take a look at it.
they have a certain outlook of something. So on September 9th, Paul Tassi released a article called "The Acolyte Has Caused Star Wars Fandom to Plunge into Civil War," which, yeah, I think that's kind of accurate in a sense. However, he goes on to mention me
I would
and
call it a
several
war.
other
It's just a
YouTubers
bunch
as
of
well.
weirdos
And he
on
really
Twitter,
writes
but
in his
alright.
article that I and many others should be deplatformed and demonetized.
Where? The saga of Acolyte is well known at this point. The show is little watched, but developed a core base of fans who really liked it. From its representation to its villain, the YouTubers in question devoted dozens, if not hundreds, of videos to tearing down the show and everyone associated with it every week, which has led not to just to pushback from Acolyte fans, but stars like Amanda Steinberg. Then the show was canceled.
Yeah.
So you can't criticize the
Several
show?
other YouTubers as
Wait,
well.
what?
And he really writes in his article that
Now we enter the current phase, which went Members of the Star Wars community in support of shows like The Acolyte and its actors banded together to create a movement to try to get a number of specific Star Wars
Oh
channels
my
demonetized
God.
with examples of what they believe was racism and harassment in their videos, which
What?
should be against YouTube terms of service.
And
Yeah,
many
that's what
others should
happened.
be deplatformed
Yeah.
and demonetized because of
Like, I'm sure there was at least a percentage of shit talking retards from, again, our side of the spectrum too. There's always shit talking retards, no matter whatever you're talking about. But to generalize all criticism is just racism, give me a fucking break. Your show just sucked. Nobody watched it, not because they're racists. They didn't watch it because there was better things to do. There were better things to do with people's time than watch your crappy show. And then you made the situation worse by having your actors come out and start this whole fucking tirade and make a fucking diss track, and like all you're doing is adding sticks to the fucking fire when your actors start acting like petulant children the second someone says they don't like their show. Grow the fuck up.
our rhetoric, because of our point of view of Star Wars in general. So, anyways, let's go ahead and check this out and read this, because I want to bring light to this. I don't think this is acceptable behavior. I don't think,
No,
for
it's
a
not. It's
publication such as
ridiculous.
Forbes, I don't think this is respectful. I don't think it's insightful. And I think it's malicious. You think the drama of the Acolyte is
100%.
over?
It is
Think again.
malicious.
As now what has been argued
And it's
about
gonna
the
cause
content of
more
the
things
show
to fail.
has progressed into a full-on civil war in the Star Wars fandom community. The two parties are fans that
I'm sorry. I'm just gonna come out and say something. I'm so sick and tired of people calling every little bit of internet beef a fucking war. Stop using buzzwords in order to add emotion to something that doesn't need emotion. This isn't a war. This is a bunch of shit-talking retards who don't agree with each other, and the other shit-talking retards are having a temper tantrum. This isn't a war. This is just a disagreement. Like, oh, sorry. I got emotional. But yeah, stop calling things wars that aren't wars, okay? People die in wars. The worst that's going to happen is some fucking loser's going to have to lay down after making a bad opinion on Twitter. Like,
appreciate shows like The Acolyte and did not appreciate what seemed to be a coordinated, relentless assault on the show and its actors by YouTubers and their subscribers.
Okay.
So where's the evidence that these are coming from YouTube, from the subscribers? Where's the evidence that all of these subscribers are sending it?
yeah, so what a lot of people will do is that when someone makes a video like this, they assume that all the hate they're getting is from this person's audience. A portion of that may be true, but the other portion is people just don't like you, and you're getting hate because you're a fucking loser. Like, you were gonna get it regardless because you're not a likable person. Your show is bad, and just because this person brought light to it, that's why you're getting more of it. But it was all gonna happen regardless.
Attacks to the actors or the actresses or the writers. Where is that information? I need that intel. They are attempting to demonetize many of those accounts which they believe are racist or encourage targeted harassment campaigns.
I don't think
Here's
that
what
Paul
I say to
Cassie's in the
that
wrong yet.
motherfucker. Yeah,
He's
criticism
simply
equals
writing
racism.
an article describing the situation. He's basically saying this is happening.
Yeah, it's still
Side
You
says
retarded?
weird.
No, I'm not retarded. I just look at what I read and I make a decision about it.
it is a bit of a spin though.
He's putting spin on it. Yeah, a bit. He's putting spin on it. You
Or-
could say that, but
We're all putting spins on things, all right? This is just a giant circle jerk at this point, all right?
there's nothing that's been said here that is inaccurate or blatantly misleading.
That is true.
Hate the show for normal reasons. The saga of The Acolyte is well known at this point. The show was little watched, but developed core base fans who really liked it, ranging from its representation
Okay, let's move on.
in this, and I like this, since they liked it for that primary reason,
Yeah.
then of course everyone has to have liked it for that reason too, and if they didn't, then they're going against that representation, and therefore they're racist. So I would even argue that the people who are saying such things are only seeing the depth of this show, or only showing interest in the show because...
And it's kind of ironic that people play the racism card when I believe this gentleman is black. So how is he racist? He's racist against his own kind? Like, ay, ay, ay. You use that word, but I don't think you understand what it means. By constantly using it, you take the power away from it, and you call everybody racist. It just doesn't have the same effect it used to. You've overused the word, and it just doesn't have the same power it used to. And if you've ever been in a room with someone who is genuinely racist, you'll know, like, it's very, very uncomfortable.
As there is representation. I would argue that
There's still nothing wrong with this paragraph. He's saying that there are some people that like the show because it had a black lead actress. That's guaranteed true.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah. I mean, obviously. Come on. Of course.
still nothing wrong.
The people who are so
this
in
is still
love with the show would love it just as much
It's
as
coming?
if
Okay.
everybody was white. I guarantee
Is he
the
cooking?
people who love the show, I do not think they would like it as much or nearly at all if all of the cast members were white. And to me, I say, I don't care if they're purple.
No, and again, it's not about the skin color. It's about the fact that the show was bad. Yeah. Even if the cast was all white or all Asian or all something else, the fact of the matter is the writing was still bad and the show was boring as hell to watch. Like, people like to fixate on the things that aren't the actual problem. I mean, obviously, because it fits their worldviews to fixate on bullshit.
I don't care what color they are. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Black, gay, straight, trans. You do what you want, man. Just make a cool story, cool characters.
But again, it becomes a problem when that is the entire personality of your show. Like, it's not about the fact that you have inclusivity in your show. It's about making that the entire image of it. Like, it's not about my show being good. It's about the fact that I'm a good person. No one cares.
And that's it. Well written, thoughtful. I couldn't care less about what they do outside of that. Split from the Skywalker saga, but several hundred years ago. The YouTubers in question devoted dozens, if not hundreds, of videos dedicated to tearing down the show and everyone associated with it each and every week, which led to not just pushback from Acolyte fans, but stars like Amanda Stenberg publicly talking about the racism she experienced. And look,
Well, I mean, she also participated in being racist, too. So, I mean, don't throw rocks whenever you live in a glass house, motherfucker. You're going to start calling people racist, and you're going to make it... Like, she made an entire music video hating on the white people. Like, of course they're going to get it back. If you're going to disrespect people, don't be surprised when you get disrespected back. What is this? Man, they love to dish it, but they fucking suck at taking it.
I've said this a million times.
Well, this is what happens with anything. Like, it's the same as if you criticize any person, people are going to bring their race and their identity into the criticism. If you criticize somebody that's gay, then people are going to call them the F word. If you criticize somebody that's black, people are going to call them the N word. This is just the way it is. Like, that's just the way the internet is. It doesn't mean that he's accountable for that. It doesn't mean it's his fault.
Everybody is super gangster behind a screen. I guarantee you, if you went out in public and people said the same things that they say to people online, you'd have your fucking face broken. And you know that.
That's crazy. Yeah, I don't even, I can't even imagine thinking like this. How are you not allowed to criticize a show, bro? Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, and it is like this paragraph is very much like it is basically the article is built on the foundation that they are getting reported because they are saying that they're experiencing racism. And then now it's codifying the racism that this person experienced too. So, yeah, I do think that there is obviously a spin on this article to make the guys that are making these YouTube videos like Star Wars Theory look bad.
Yeah.
It is.
Obviously.
Like, I do think that now at this point, because you talked about alleged and now you're talking about the actual stuff.
It's not about having a conversation. It's about making your opponent look like a piece of shit.
And any normal reader that's reading this will logically go from point A to point B.
Yeah. Anybody that's not a
Criticism is
shit talking
racism.
retard
Yes, but
could,
let's not be
could
delusional
deduce that.
here. She absolutely experienced racism.
Yeah, 100%. But she
Without a
also
doubt.
invoked it too.
Do you really think that not a single person said racist things to her?
No. 100% they did.
Guaranteed this happened. A 100% chance. But that still doesn't make the people that were criticizing the show at fault.
No.
You know, there are so many people that are for sure assholes and racist.
You know what happens when animals such as monkeys get into a fight? What do the other monkeys do? They fucking jump up and down and they throw shit. It's because they're stupid. So when people are talking about a show they dislike, you get a bunch of shit talking retards that take that as a invite to throw shit. Duh.
Racist and bigots and homophobic and all that. But I feel like that's a very small minority. And to take a magnifying glass and just enlarge that and blow it up as if it's the majority of people.
Somebody says she is racist, though? Okay.
That's
then
nice.
they're both stupid.
Everybody
They're
loses.
both racist. If you're racist to somebody that's racist, you're still racist.
Duh.
Like, yeah, she is. Wow. Okay. True.
Now we're all racist. Sorry. That was fucking funny. Well, she's racist too. Well, yeah. You're racist. She's racist. Like, come on, man. Doesn't change the fact of what's going on. It hurts my brain. And I thought I was the fucking dumb welder, man. Like, fuck.
True.
It's really irresponsible to do, especially as a journalist. I think if we're going to really look at something from a objective point of view, we have to really see it for what it is. Okay, there are shitty people everywhere, all over the world.
Yeah,
okay?
no, of course,
you run into them
always.
every day. I run into them every day. There's also very nice people all over the world. Am I to say that just because one person I met is shitty or two people out of the 100 I meet in a day are shitty, then therefore all of them are shitty? No.
That's the way a lot of people do things, though. That's how a lot of people are racist.
That's true.
Most people, I think, are racist because they had a bad interaction with a person of that race.
Well, and it's like the same thing when you get a bunch of weirdos online that are like, I hate women or I hate men. No, you don't. You just had a bad experience with the opposite gender. You don't hate men. You hate your dad. You hate your boyfriend. You don't hate women. You hate the girlfriend that cheated on you. Grow the fuck up and stop generalizing everything based off a bad experience you had, because I got some bad news for you. You're gonna have a lot fucking more bad experiences in life, because life is a fucking roller coaster of bullshit. And if you're not ready to handle a bad situation, well, you're gonna have a rough fucking time, my dude.
And then they just blame everybody of that race for the same thing.
Yeah,
It's
like
just
Yeah,
a select
super
few.
common.
That's how life works. You can't fix the world.
But I'm done.
Unfortunately.
What
Now,
is
let's
this?
end
What
how
did this guy
life
say?
works.
Reported that I'm done. First text threat, but the things I've been saying the past few days are constantly disgusting. I've no respect for this part of the community or those that cultivate it, and excusable and pathetic. Yeah, I mean, like harassing somebody and sending them messages that are hostile.
Yeah,
it's pretty simple, right? Like if you do,
I 100% agree with that. Like, if you have nothing valuable to add to the conversation and you're only here to send hate or, like, just be a dickhead, then leave. Like, you can disagree with somebody without sending them death threats or harassing their family. Like, what the fuck is this, man?
that, you should get banned.
Like, I think this guy's an idiot, but I don't think he should be harassed because of it. And I'm sure there are plenty of people in the world that think I'm a fucking stupid idiot too. I shouldn't be harassed, but I do get harassed. But it's dumb. Like you're not doing your argument any favors by being a shit talking retard.
Like if you're threatening somebody online, you should get banned. Like it's not even like it's
Obviously.
not even a question. Like there's no conversation here. Nobody's disagreeing with this.
Can't fix the world, unfortunately. Now, Amanda Stenberg took that minority who were racist and jerks and essentially said the entire fandom who does not like the Acolyte is alt-right, racist, bigots. I mean, that to me is that's also extremely irresponsible, especially in her position. And she is representing Lucasfilm, and she is representing Leslie Headland and everybody else that she worked with. Nobody's saying a damn thing. If anything, they're saying, you go, girl.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
What is this? And so we have these articles from a massive publication, Forbes, also touting
I've got
this.
to draw attention to this.
Oh, we got a shit talking retard?
You can't do this in my chat. Why are you doing this? There's a lot of Jew haters. Being there, Adolf's been making a big comeback recently.
Oh yeah.
He's been making a very, very big comeback. I've been seeing it on Twitter. Yeah, like there's been a lot of.
At the very least, the people that are insane Nazis really aren't much of a threat because they're basically just basement dwelling weirdos that never leave their house and have no social skills. So, like, what are they gonna do? Ooh, you're gonna send me a death threat. Oh, you're never gonna fulfill it, so.
Anyway, let's move on.
And by the way, if somebody does, you'd be doing me a motherfucking favor. I ain't gotta pay bills no more.
Same kind of bullshit. I think this is seriously a massive red flag. It's
Yeah.
a form of brainwashing in a sense.
It's a mental
where
illness,
if people
is what
don't
it is.
understand or don't see it, they're like, oh no, these people are racist.
Yeah.
My God, it couldn't be further from the truth. Racist people are racist, but that's not the majority of everybody. For example,
You know what'd be really fucking funny? If white people started using this nonsense every time somebody called them out on some bullshit and be like, you're just racist. It'd be fucking funny if, like, collectively everybody just started doing that. Can we do that? Oh, God. You can't be racist to a white person. Shut up, racist. Like, if everybody, again, like, it would become a minority agreement, right? If people started doing it. Don't do that. I mean, it'd be fucking funny. But don't do that. Don't add to the problem, but I think it'd just be hilarious if we started doing that. You don't like me? Well, you just don't like white people. See how stupid it sounds?
I don't want to make it about me, but
This is what
know-
happens a lot, is that one person says something that's bad. Like, let's say you have a group of 100 people, and then one person does something bad, and then the entire group gets categorized as being bad. This is a very common tactic that's used in journalism in order to paint dissenters as bad people.
Yep.
the death threats and stuff that were thrown at me that you guys saw on Twitter, on X, horrible things that were said that I even showed in some videos, that all comes from that side of the fandom who loved the Acolyte. Am I therefore to say that everyone that loves the Acolyte is a disgusting piece of shit who wants to wish me death? in the most
Absolutely not. And I genuinely feel bad for people that like the show. Like, it sucks. Like, everybody's got different opinions on things. We like different things. It's called having a fucking brain. And yeah, it is what it is. It sucks. I mean, there's plenty of other shows to go watch, but like there's lots of shows that I watch. There's some animes too that I wish got continued, but hey, not enough people watched it, so it didn't get continued. There's no money in it to continue doing it. But I didn't go to the comments and make videos calling everybody that didn't watch my show is a racist, bigot, right-wing asshole. No, people just didn't like the thing that I liked. It's totally natural. Like, we're adults. Let's move on. Or don't. I mean, I get plenty of content out of people not moving on, so
gruesome, horrible, weird, psycho ways. No, those are just a few bad apples that are psychotic.
Who
That
cares?
happens. That's the internet. That's life. That's people.
Yeah.
Then the show was canceled.
True.
Given that Disney is, well, Disney, the decision likely came down to mainly an absurdly high cost, which was very much Disney's fault, and low viewership. Though many, including it had nothing to do with the high cost. They'll pay up the nose for anything that they want, as long
Well,
as
the show cost a lot of money because it didn't make a lot of money. Something costs a lot of money. Like, for example, if you spend $100 and then you make $80, that cost 80. Sorry, if you spend $100 and you make $20, well, then you just lost $80.
Fuck
That's a lot of
was I
money.
doing
But if
last
you spend
night?
$100 and you make $300, then you didn't spend a lot of money. It's entirely contextualized around
I wish
is the
there was
number
a
up or
time
down.
frame.
It's not about the amount of money spent. Like, what do you think? Think about how much money they spent on Game of Thrones. But the reason why they did that was because the show was really popular.
it gets the
doesn't
views,
know
as long
this?
as it gets the money. That's really, at the end of the day, all it is. So, this thing could have cost freaking $100 million. It still wouldn't have been enough for them to renew it for a second season. And low viewership, though many, including some of the cast, credited the racism and harassment and
sorry,
felt
I
it
totally
gave
forgot
a
I was
win
recording a
to
video.
toxic
Sorry, I was just
parts
going
of the
through,
fandom.
It
Now-
did.
Maybe I'll
And
cut
so
that out.
what you see here is I actually do think that Paul is engaging in a form of subversion here, because he initially introduced what the conflict was as accusations of racism and harassment, and he used it specifically accusations of, oh, well, people claim this is happening, and now halfway through the article, the racism and harassment is now codified and it is established. So what that does to the reader is that it causes the reader to passively assume that that side that was alleging these things was in fact correct. It's persuasive writing that's hard to pick up on unless you can see it. Accept allegations as reality. Well, it starts as an allegation, it's introduced as an allegation, but then later on it's referred to as a fact. So it gets people to let their guard down as if they're reading an unbiased perspective of something, and then the perception changes because it's distorted. And the problem is that I'm sure Paul would say this is what happened, and he's right that that's what happened. But if you're not intentionally trying to separate the people who are racist or harassers from the people that just don't like the show, then
Yeah.
I think that you are intentionally painting them in a bad light. And it's being done on purpose.
Well, it's a lot easier to take the bad actors instead of listening to any type of actual criticism, because then you don't have to take any responsibility, right? And then it's easier to victimize yourself instead of actually finding a solution to the problem. Nobody wants to do that. Everybody is driven off problems nowadays. If we solved all the problems, people wouldn't have a reason to exist.
Enter the current phase, which went members of the Star Wars community in support of shows like The Acolyte and its actors banded together to create a movement to try and get a number of specific Star Wars channels demonetized.
Yeah, how'd that work
And
out?
you see how the racism, what they believe was racism. And you see how this
And it's so weird that they call these things movements. Like, you're not standing up for anything. You're not in the streets fighting racism and bigotry. You're upset at best. Oh, we made a movement. Bitch, none of y'all moving anyways. You don't leave your house. What movement? Bro, half the time y'all don't move further than the fucking block around your house. Movement.
This messaging happens. This is a very big problem.
If you spent more time moving, maybe you wouldn't be so fucking stupid.
And so this is it's a core problem because Paul is a smart guy. I like Paul Tassi, but I think that he's obviously engaging in subversion here. He clearly is engaging in subversion. And the problem is that a lot of people are not proficient in English enough to be able to pick up on this. You like him? Yeah, no, I've read a number of things that he's written that I've agreed with, and I think that he's had good takes on things before.
That's why you're confusing my dumb welder brain. What?
This isn't one of them. I disagree with this. I don't hate the guy. No, I'm disagreeing with what he's saying.
Oh, but you disagreed with him. That means you're a racist asshole and you hate him. You hate him.
In this article.
Of what they believe was racism and harassment in their videos, which should be against YouTube's terms of service. Well, clearly it wasn't, since YouTube said that this does not go against terms of service. However, once YouTube...
This was a huge gamer move that YouTube made, is that they basically, all of the internet Karens that were upset that they couldn't watch The Acolyte Season 2 got together and wrote like a letter to YouTube asking for these people to be demonetized, and then YouTube said, yeah, we looked it up and there's nothing wrong with it. Shut the fuck up and leave us alone.
Pretty
Which
much,
was an
right?
absolute W by YouTube.
YouTube was just like, fuck you.
Was tagged. The concept was met with an immediate reply 13 minutes later from YouTube that they reviewed the video in question and found that it was not in violation and no action would be taken. This was celebrated immediately by the targeted...
Man, and like the one video I made predicting this nonsense would actually happen got so much fucking hate. Well, guess who's right? I guess all that emotional hatred was, well, I wouldn't say ill-delivered. I mean, I probably deserved some of it. But it's still fucking funny to know that you were fucking wrong.
YouTubers in question.
Well, they should be.
Though further investigation reveals that it is a pretty generic YouTube auto message, which has been used hundreds of times before, and there's no evidence that YouTube took the quite elaborate movement seriously for more than a few minutes, or did anything.
Good. They shouldn't.
Who?
It's just a bunch of retards getting mad on Twitter that want to shut down other people that disagree with them.
Yeah. Just a bunch of shit-talking retards, as usual.
Thing resembling investigation. So this also is incorrect. So what he does, what Paul Tassi does, is he looks at the reply which was sent a day after this was actually created.
Right.
So this was actually created and sent on September 4th, which took YouTube an entire day to check out the claims, and then they replied on the 5th, and they said, thanks for reaching out, just heard back and confirmed that this content is not violative and will remain up. We totally understand you may not agree with this decision, but we reviewed this video very carefully against our policies.
Yeah, huge YouTube W, by the way. Massive YouTube W.
Replied the day before this, and they said, we're going to check it out. Could you please send a link of all of the videos in question?
So basically, the entire idea that it was done by a bot seems like it's not true. Yeah.
Or the channels in question, and Molly Damon...
Paul's saying that it was done by a bot to discredit it. He is. I don't know if it's to discredit it, to be fair, but I do think that's what's happening. Yes.
Molly went to YouTube's aid and made sure that she freaking tried to rat every single person out on that list.
Oh man, I
and
didn't.
These people,
I wasn't on the list. What the hell, Molly?
Internet Karens. These people are absolutely
Come on. I want to be part of the cool kids club too. Why was my video not on there, Molly?
the internet Karens. They are the ones that are complaining to the
Oh, I know
manager.
their answer to
They're
that. I'm
the
just a
ones
random
that want their
nobody,
food
but
sent back because it's too cold. They're the ones that are getting mad because the barista spelled their name wrong.
right.
I
Yep.
was in that freaking link too.
They're
To
Karens,
take
they
away
are.
our livelihoods. And I sound like a broken record, but man, you don't understand. Imagine you work so freaking hard and someone just wants to take that away from you because of wrong think, because you don't agree with them on a freaking show. So
Well, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to take a moral high ground to make YouTube feel like they are morally obligated to shut down competitors, because what they're going to do is now they're going to paint YouTube as enabling racism.
right
That's
there,
what they do.
journalist,
Yep, there it
writer
is.
for Forbes
Sorry, I had to blow my
is
nose.
writing misinformation, trying to say that this is a automated response within a few minutes. Incorrect. It's a response a few minutes, one full day after having checked everything out.
Yeah.
Hey, Team YouTube, Star Wars community would at least appreciate a formal... I love how they call themselves a Star Wars community. It's like, yeah, only you guys that like the accolade are the Star Wars community. Everybody else who's been supporting it and literally got it to the point where it's worth $4 billion
Right.
for George
They're
to
not the
sell,
community.
they're just a bunch of losers,
They're the toxic-
grifters, racists. They don't actually give a shit about Star Wars. Come on.
It's the same
use
extortion scheme used by game journalists for Black Myth Wukong. Yeah. I hope that a lot of people, like, now that we've gone through a lot of these topics so far, a lot of people are starting to realize and pick up on these patterns and these techniques that journalistic outlets use in order to maintain a hegemony.
Yep. Like I said in previous videos, people are picking up on the bullshit. Ain't nobody give a flying fuck about your goddamn virtue signaling anymore. Like, yeah. This is every person right now that is just like, oh my fucking god, man. Like, just shut the fuck up already, man. Like, nobody cares. Like, I got better things to do with my life than to have you tell me that every Star Wars fan's a racist. Like, who the fuck are you?
Over information. It's been very problematic, and like I noticed it a lot. Like,
And I predicted this years ago. You can only act like a piece of shit for so long before people catch up to it.
I have kind of like a personal vendetta against this, because I remember noticing it whenever I was a teenager, like after 9/11, and I was like, wow, this really seems like super biased. Wait a minute, like he didn't say that. Like, why are they writing about this? And like I saw it happen with
Damn, so you have an ideology that people can't criticize. No way someone's gonna take advantage of that. People were so fucking naive, it's hilarious.
Obama. I saw it happen with it happened with Ron Paul. It happened with Bernie Sanders, Donald Trump. It's happened with a lot of people that have been outsiders or that have not had the right opinion. It even happened a little bit with John Kerry in 2004. I was only 14 then, so like I don't remember, have like very good memory of it, but I do remember how the way that it was represented was clearly asymmetrical, and I've always really disliked this. And the reason why I dislike it is that it is
Oh, it's fucking dumb.
well, it's lying, number one, but it's also I think the reason why I dislike it is because it works. To be honest, that's why.
I mean, that's a good point, yep. It's so intellectually misleading that it actually works. I mean, at the end of the day, if you bully people enough, eventually they're going to give up, right? There comes a point where it's not worth it to deal with it anymore. So it's just like, all right, you win. It's like when you're having an argument with a toddler. Well, as soon as you add logic to an argument with a toddler, they're going to throw a temper tantrum, lay on the ground, kick and scream, shit in their hand, and call you the retard.
That's why it makes me mad, is that this strategy works. And the reason why it works is because people are not. They're not like I don't know, like they can't read, basically. Like, I could say something that's more sophisticated, but let's be real, they can't fucking
Don't
read,
do that.
and they don't see what's
Sophistication's
happening.
hard for people.
So I have a very personal vendetta against this, and I've had it for a very long time.
This thing, if you got it.
Man. It's your average Twitter user complaining about the group of people that they don't like, that's responsible for every bad thing that's happened in their life that they are coincidentally not responsible for at all.
Yep.
Though further
It hurt
investigation
itself
revealed
in
this
its
is a pretty
confusion.
generic YouTube auto message, which has been used hundreds of. Is this? That's just because that'll help you sleep at night, right?
Well, it's very clear if you could tell whether it was a YouTube automated message, right? Because if it was an automated YouTube message, you could copy paste the message and then expect to see a copy paste of that message that's been repeated multiple times.
Yeah, just look
But
it up.
that's not what happened. So it's very obviously not a copy paste automated message, because all automated messages are.
No, it's just a very... YouTube has a responsibility that when they're responding to people, they have to keep it professional. So yeah, it's going to come across as it maybe a little generic, but they have to do it that way because if they add any emotion, God forbid, the shit-talking retards are going to lose their fucking mind. And they already did. Well, you can't win with these people. So your best bet is to put yourself in a situation where it doesn't look bad for you to sane, normal people. Because at the end of the day, they're just gonna shit in their hands and call you a retard. Like, there's just nothing you can do about it. I mean, we can't use violence on these people anymore, so they're gonna shit in their hand and call us retards. It's just, that's the way it is.
are written the same. Just by any sort of logical investigation, you would come to this conclusion instantaneously. That's a good looking dude. Yep.
Nothing.
And there's no evidence that YouTube took the quite elaborate movement
That's
seriously
me,
for more than a
Chad,
few
yeah.
minutes. They spent a full day,
yeah.
and then they got back
I
to
looked
you and
like
said
that
there's nothing
fucking
that violates
13
terms.
years
So
ago.
What do you want? Why are you lying? Why are you always lying? Or did anything resembling investigation? How do you know? What are you, Team YouTube? Why don't you just tweet yourself, bro? It was likely just a bot scraping scraping a video, and what video that even was isn't clear. Why are you making stuff up, bro? Just take the L, move on, write your other
They can't do that because I would admit
I
that
do
they
think
would be.
that Paul is giving he's not giving a very good analysis of what happened from YouTube. That this is correct. It's undeniable that this is not a good analysis if you don't take into consideration the fact that it was sent to YouTube and YouTube responded to it the day before. Yeah, it's not even a question.
Yeah, it's very weird because YouTube doesn't usually do that. Like, I'm sure they get messages all the fucking time. If they just answered every random nobody's fucking complaints, fuck, that'd be a nightmare.
Making their company look more and more shitty, but hey, you're giving me something to talk about, so that's great. Thanks, pal. Maybe it's time I now turn the tide. That level of abruptness and lack of diligence is not very surprising. This guy is still going on his own lie. Bro, they took over a day. Get over it.
That lack of abruptness and due diligence is not very subscribing. So this is, again, this is basically a... this is like kind of basic...
It's very self-entitled to think that just because YouTube took a day to deal with your issue, you don't think that they have other things they're dealing with? You don't think there's other content that they have to investigate? What, they're supposed to just drop whatever they're doing because you feel you're entitled? You're lucky it happened in a day. Like, to me, that's fucking fast. Like, what was this person just sitting there in their living room like, YouTube hasn't responded yet. Like, grow up.
Basically, you create a narrative by saying that YouTube did it with a bot, and then the lack of diligence is not very surprising, implies that there is a malpractice that's being done, right? That this is somehow like a wrongdoing that has happened. You see, this is a loaded phrase, and this is how it happens. It's a false narrative. Yes, exactly.
Loaded like
and
this
so, like,
person's
basically,
brain.
you assert a possibility, and then you build a narrative based off of that possibility being true, that causes readers to passively accept that the assertion that you made is the truth. That's how this works.
Move on. It's okay, Sally.
Yeah, because if you use strong language, it's easier to manipulate stupid people. You know, big power words. He very smart.
Since this happened, fans have now pointed towards people moving on to comment on a black actor's Instagram that they want the acolyte treatment, viewing that as a threat to mount a similar movement. One random Johnny Root underscore stands for everybody. These people, man, just said, like, desperate. Like, this is your facts? This is your evidence?
Yeah, there's a comment with 134 likes.
One random dude on the...
One random dude with 134 likes. This is the entire group of people. Bro, if I had $1 for every comment I made on Facebook that got over a few hundred likes, I could consider myself successful at this point. Like, this is nothing.
The internet sends a message. What the fuck, bro? The YouTuber side of
Yeah,
this
right.
escalated thanks to Star Wars Theory.
That's this
the
guy.
Well,
That's
thank you,
him.
Paul. You're welcome. You're welcome, Paul.
There it is.
All right.
Literally called him out.
The largest Star Wars fan channel on the internet who has been the frequent centerpiece of what is viewed as the toxic part of the fandom.
You know why this person put Star Wars Theory in their article? It's because his YouTube name is very simple and easy to read. Star Wars Theory. And it doesn't have any spaces. He didn't even have to hit the space bar. Oh, he had to hold shift down 3 times. That was probably like the most stressful part of his day.
Really? Please tell me what it is I do that's so toxic. Because I just call out what I think isn't really a
Has been viewed, and this is another term that's used.
No, Star Wars Theory is nice, very logical, and gets to the point. I'm toxic. I'm an asshole. There's a difference.
It's like like it's weasel language, right? Where it's like has been viewed. Well, of course, somebody has viewed him like that. This is like that one guy that would call every white person a suspected white supremacist, like Tariq. It's like terms like this by who. So you're basically like you're creating an argument to authority, or an argument to like normalcy, I guess. That this person is being viewed as bad, but there's no actual like evidence of this. There's no quantification of this. It's just
but there's a comment with 134 likes on it. There's your evidence.
known. And this is exactly what happened with Black Myth Wukong. And this is also what's happened with other games as well, like Stellar Blade.
Yeah, and there it is, Black Myth Wukong. They tried to tear it down. Problem is, the game was actually good, so people bought it. A good product will stand on its own, and a bad product will fail. And that's what these people, I genuinely think, drives them insane. They know they're mediocre at what they do, and they're mad that when something is actually better and does well, it makes their stuff look like it's actually mediocre. They can't handle it.
Is that misinformation and accusations are assumed and never quantified.
To what George would have done, and that's it. So if that's toxic, then I guess you want everyone to have a gag order unless it aligns with your beliefs. And that, I think, is far beyond toxic. That's a totalitarian regime. That's a dictatorship. Theory also constantly bashed the Acolyte with the usual "it's the bad writing and breaks canon" claims. Well, yeah,
Right.
it did. Please
This is a hot take that I usually have, but I genuinely believe that these weirdos, they don't want a solution to things like racism or sexism or bigotry. They just want their turn with the whip. They want their revenge. Which is ironic because most of the people that have these opinions lived in a time before these things actually happened. Like it didn't even happen to them. They are literally being offended on other people's behalf on a life they didn't even have to live. It's so fucking pathetic. Like you still get people that are like, "Oh, well everybody hates gay people." No, no, not really. Like I genuinely don't have any real opinion on it. If you like suck a dick, go suck dick. I've sucked a dick in my life. You know, I went to college. Shit happens, right? You get too drunk at a party. You make up with a cute Filipino guy. You know, it is what it is, right? But most of those people don't go around shoving it in people's faces in order to virtue signal. Bro, they just live their goddamn life.
tell me how it didn't. Please tell me how The Acolyte was good writing and it didn't break canon. I'd love for you to explain this in your next Forbes article. I'll be waiting. Though it's a long pattern of him moving on from focused Star Wars lore discussion to lambasting much of what Disney has produced. Well, you see, when you grow up with something that you really loved and you see it being torn to shreds by people who don't understand it, and then if you don't like it, being called racist, and then having your entirely livelihood.
Well, and I think what you're seeing is a lot of what's happening is people are inserting themselves into places that, one, they never wanted to be there to begin with, and two, they don't belong there. Of course that's going to be fucking annoying. Like, it's like if someone who hates video games inserts themselves into a situation and just starts going off and ruining everybody's fun. Bro, like, nobody wants you here. Like, why are you even here?
Potentially taken away from you because you don't like what they've done to something so sacred to you. I guess that is what I'm doing. Yeah, it's quite a long pattern. I think speaking about how it breaks lore, I mean, you're kind of contradicting yourself. You're talking about how I'm talking about how it's bad writing for Star Wars, which I explain, and it breaks canon.
Well, you're quoting what he said, and the quote is meant to, the way he's quoting it in this sentence.
With the usual, it's the bad writing. Yeah, it's usual because it's true. Like, what? Oh, well, they're just saying the same thing. My show's bad. Ugh. Yeah.
The quote is meant to demean the statement, and that's why it says claims afterwards. Although it's a long pattern of him moving on, right? Like, this entire sentence is created with the intention of basically delegitimizing his channel by saying that he's moved on from lore discussion and delegitimizing what he doesn't like about the video.
Yeah, it's basically talking around the point and derailing the argument in order to essentially just change the subject, right? They don't want to take responsibility, so what they do is they talk around the problem in order to derail the argument. You see it happen a lot. Like, if someone's losing an argument, you'll see it in the comments. As soon as someone breaks their logic, well, apparently your mom's a hoe. Or you're fat, or something stupid like that, right? Like, well, fuck you.
How is that moving
show,
on
I mean,
from
sorry.
focused Star Wars lore discussion?
Yeah.
Theory went off on social media saying that things had crossed a line by trying to get these channels demonetized, including mine. But let's not forget, Alex and Molly have been
I
trying...
do think that you cross the line, by the way. If you try to get somebody else demonetized, in my opinion, you do at that point cross a line.
Yeah. Way beyond the line.
Because now, like, it's more than... Like, that's basically...
It's not a disagreement anymore. Now you've made it personal. Like, you lost the argument, so your next reaction is to try to tear someone's life down. You're a fucking loser. You crossed the line. Like, you could have just taken the L and grown as a person. No. Someone disagreed with you, so now you got to attack their income, you got to attack their life. You're a fucking loser. Like, there's no other way to say it. You're just a loser.
You're trying to invade their personal space, and you're trying to affect their life in a tangible way. Whereas if you're just making YouTube videos about them or talking about them or whatever...
Like, it's the closest thing they can do to beating someone up. They know that they can't physically harm you, so they go around and they do other shit. And it's such weasel fucking behavior, bro.
Whatever. That's one thing. But if you're actually going like after their livelihood, trying to call their employer, messaging family members, trying to get them deplatformed, etc., you 100% have crossed the line. Absolutely. Anybody would say that.
To use other people as an icebreaker, as a scapegoat to get to me for years. And so it's no surprise why they would write such a freaking thing to demonetize and deplatform people, then to have me lumped in the same freaking letter, which goes after people's livelihoods. He just released a video calling out another channel, Star Wars Explained, who had signed on to the demonetization. He just released a video calling out another channel, Star Wars Explained, who calling out. Bro, I literally just put the mirror up to their face after they were berating me for 8 years and being jealous and just envious and rude and shit-talking me behind my back. There's so many people for so many years simply because I did well on YouTube. The receipts are all there.
Well, which got extremely personal, reviewing his private communication with the channel owner in the past. Well...
Yeah, he brought receipts. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? What a stupid fucking thing to say. If he didn't bring receipts, this fucking shit-talking retard would have said, well, he didn't provide any proof. Like, what the fuck? It's so exhausting dealing with unreasonable people.
Yeah. And this is the thing, right? The extreme, which got extremely personal. This type of language is once again used to delegitimize Star Wars theory. You see what I'm saying, right? Like, this is how it's being delegitimized. Defending yourself is evil if I don't like your politics. Yeah, exactly. And also, by the way, if you're calling for a person to be demonetized, you are getting extremely personal because you're affecting their personal life. Like, this is their job. They make YouTube videos for a living. So, talk about extremely personal, getting somebody fired from their job effectively. Or,
yeah,
right?
No shit, right?
The Office Space, right?
Damn. Can't believe someone's getting personal when you're trying to effectively derail their entire life. Like, oh, shit.
Like, well,
what a defensive asshole.
He still goes to work and, he doesn't get paid. Don't be surprised when somebody wants to burn the building down.
Calling anyone out, that's just saying, I've had enough. Leave me alone. And that's all this is. The more you keep coming for me, the more I'm just going to expose you and destroy you. It's just how it works now. I've had
Keep
enough.
doing it.
Star Wars Explained, who had
I say fuck him.
And by the way, that's what he should do.
100%.
He should absolutely be on the offensive, and he should be aggressive and proactive.
And I think more people should be talking about this. Like, the loud minority of these people has gotten so annoying that I think more people need to be talking about this. Like, they need to be taken down a peg and brought to reality.
In stopping people who are trying to, hurt his career or try to get him shut down. because they're doing that to him. And so the only way that you can beat somebody who's aggressive is by being more aggressive than they are.
Yeah, self-defense, right?
And again, he's also, every single time that he's doing this, he is doing this reactively. It's not like he's going out of his way to do this to people. He's making his content, and then other people are trying to...
Yeah, weird. It's like if you randomly went up and punched somebody, shocker, they're probably going to punch you back. Like, duh.
attack him. So, like, in him doing this, he's defending himself every time.
A video which got extremely personal, reviewing his private communications.
You know how I picture these people? I picture these people that were the kids that would run up, start some shit, throw a punch, and then the second someone throws a punch back, they're on the ground in the fetal position playing fucking victim. Or they would run to the teacher and say that, and they would tattle on him. It's such weasel fucking behavior.
With the channel's owner in the past.
And then also, like, yeah, you're right. Here we go. Which goes after people's, quote, livelihoods. Well, what do you think happens if, if Forbes, for example, stopped giving Paul Tassi advertisements on his articles and he wasn't getting paid any money? Would he think that's going after his livelihood?
And it's like, these weirdos are literally admitting to the shit they're doing in their weird victim shit. Like, what? Oh, he went off on social media because I deplatformed him. Yeah. That usually happens. People will defend themselves when an unreasonable person is trying to fuck them. And now you just admitted to it. So congratulations. You're fucking dumb.
Of course he would, because that's how he makes money. It's an intentional, basically, it's an intentional, I don't know, I'm trying to think like the best way to say it. It's like kind of, you're making it seem trivial or you're making it seem unreasonable, right? It's rat. Yeah, basically rat behavior.
Rat behavior, weasel
Scare
behavior.
Quotes, exactly.
Bro's acting like I revealed some top secret.
Yeah, the fact that he's put livelihoods in question.
Yeah. So what weasels try to do is they try to downplay the shit that they do to try to make it look like that when you're defending yourself, you're being unreasonable. That's exactly what they do.
By quotations is super trivializing it. He's doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
Like, Paul's not stupid. Like, he knows what he's doing. He's doing it on purpose.
Information. The guy was trying to get my information. The guy was trying to understand a channel that was out for 2 months that amassed 50,000 subscribers, could not fathom how his channel, which was around for 4 or 5 something years, was growing so fast, and he was trying to poach me for information and be my friend. And when I didn't give him any information, because honestly, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just making Star Wars content I enjoyed. He started to just talk shit about me nonstop. And then he would apologize.
Didn't get what he wanted, so
yeah,
now
that's probably what happened. Is that this is a personal vendetta between the two of them, and the other person that Star Wars Explained doesn't like and is very clearly jealous of the fact that Star Wars Theory is extremely popular, and he's not.
Well, you see, in most cases like this, you know why Star Wars Theory probably did better than this other guy? He seems like a likable person. This person, the one who wrote this article, seems the opposite. It's pretty easy to be able to dictate why Star Wars Theory got more popularity than this fucking weasel. Duh. Of course people are going to watch the more likable guy.
I think that's what happened.
It's like, I completely understand it. That's why my videos probably don't get viewed as much. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that probably don't like me. But I also just don't give a fuck. So, I'm still going to make the videos and I'm still going to say my fucking piece.
This happens all the time in streaming, and it happens in entertainment everywhere. because like they see somebody else that just started and they're already doing better than you. It happens to you too. Yeah, I mean, of course, it happens to everybody. You got ego check? Yeah, he did.
And then do it again and again and again to the point where now his
Plus, there's also a bit of RNG involved as well. Like, just don't overthink it, man. So someone's doing better than you. Well, there's probably a lot of people in the world that are doing better than you. Get over it.
wife is trying to deplatform me and throw me under the bus for what? He like full on went after me out of the frickin' blue on some topics and videos that I was talking about regarding some stuff in this scenario, the solo posters. Fast forward to this, and now he's apologizing and blah 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 blah. And you realize it's not just the stuff that I showed; it's over the years, all of the weird little tweets that I would see, they would like of people just talking ill about me.
And see, like, that's really all you gotta do. If you fuck up, take the L and apologize, and the problems will eventually stop. But if you keep fucking going, you're gonna keep looking for trouble. Trouble's gonna keep coming to you. You know, especially when you're in the wrong. Clearly, anybody with any common sense can see that this person is clearly insane. If you just keep adding to the fire's not going to go out. Like, if this Forbes person had just said, all right, sorry, taking the L, we wouldn't be having this conversation. It would have been old news. Everybody would have moved on with their life. The Acolyte would still be dead. You know, like...
Pablo Hidalgo stuff, they were all...
No, if people did that to me, I would absolutely put them on blast.
Exactly.
Like, to me, I have a very, very simple policy. If you say something bad about me, I will go for the throat. I don't have a problem making...
Well, it's pretty simple. You fuck around, you're gonna find out.
A video about you. I don't have a problem making fun of you. I'm not sorry. I will do it. And here's the worst part. I enjoy it. It's one of my favorite parts of this job.
They enjoyed that. They were laughing with him. They were liking his tweets. Don't think I didn't see this
Free
stuff.
content?
I see. I check. I watch. I just didn't say anything until they tried to pull the plug. Here's my take on this whole grand drama, which does not appear to even be over yet. Oh, you bet it's not, man. We're just getting started. The hate for the Acolyte is unlike anything I've seen in Star Wars history. Possibly even more than The Last Jedi, which is saying...
I don't know about that.
I gotta go see
People were really negative about the prequels when they came out. I mean, the Acolyte, I feel like the show wasn't popular enough for the hate to be that big. Like, I would say proportionally, there was probably more hate for the Acolyte than any other Star Wars, like, thing. But, like, that was about it.
People are really disgusted by it, and I think it's just an absolute abhorrent story that has no place in Star Wars and has no place before The Phantom Menace and just breaks a ton of lore. I mean, as you said, I've made countless videos about it, so why don't you go watch them? In fact, I bet you have, but just like your lack of data, or rather your manipulation of data with YouTube's response time, you just want to lie and pretend like you don't know. But really, we all know you got that incognito mode open 24/7, and I'm living rent-free on your browser. Well, actually, you're paying me with the views, so thanks. I hope Alex doesn't lose any sleep over that tonight.
Get your ass up!
There absolutely was an industry created on YouTube dismantling the show each and every week. Yeah, it's called reviewing products, reviewing media, reviewing shows and movies.
Yeah, I think the idea that there's an industry that's created around it and then putting industry in quotations is, again, trying to make it sound ridiculous or trying to degrade or make it seem stupid again. You're doing it again. Abso-fucking-lutely. Yeah, the industry...
And I'll fucking do it again.
is called film review and movie review. This is what people have been doing for 100 years.
Duh.
That's what do you think? We're the first people that have reviewed movies.
Yeah,
it's been going on for many years, far before YouTube even existed. People were reviewing movies in magazines.
Anytime you use quotations like that, it's dismissive. It is.
Was probably part of that as well.
Yeah, he's doing it.
Yeah, and the people that put certain words into quotations like that, all it does is make you look more insufferable to deal with. Like,
on purpose.
industry for people like you lying and trying to throw people under the bus and paint a picture that is so unbelievably far from the truth. But I guess, hey, when you're a journalist, the truth really doesn't matter. It's more so about clicks and what your narrative can purport to people who...
When you're a virtue signaling asshole, it's not about common sense. It's about sending your message. Like, everybody knows this.
who don't know any better. Even though this We Hate Disney Star Wars crew has been
except
around
for
a
them,
long while, it did in fact make talking about the Acolyte online with any semblance of positivity practically impossible without being swarmed by what were often devotees of these channels, if not the YouTubers themselves.
So the problem with this is the implication that people disagreeing with you about your opinion about a TV show is problematic. That's what happens, is whenever you post something publicly, there are going to be other people that will respond to it publicly.
Yeah.
I know it sounds crazy, but that's the way the world works.
Yeah, no shit.
So, would anything be impossible without being...
It's almost like people have differing opinions on stuff. Huh, weird.
Swarmed, yeah. And also, has it ever occurred that maybe the reason why you're getting swarmed by people that disagree with you is because the opinions that you have are not the majority opinion? So if you put out an opinion and you say, like, I hate eating pizza, most people like pizza, and there's going to be people saying, hey, what the fuck do you mean? Like, pizza's great. They should make pizza illegal. Right? I mean, of course that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, when you have an extreme take on something that most people don't agree with, people are going to say something crazy.
But
where was this rhetoric with The Mandalorian Season 1 or Season 2? Where was this, for the most part, with...
Well, see, the problem is The Mandalorian was actually a good show. I don't know how many times we gotta keep repeating the same thing. If a show's good, people will watch it. Like, yeah.
with Andor. Where was this level of disdain with Ahsoka? I mean, sure, yeah, a lot of people disliked it, but nothing close to this level. Where was this with...
Well, and see, a big point is a lot of these shows, they just made the show. There wasn't like a bunch of weird virtue signaling coming from the actors or from Disney about it. They were just like, here's a show. Watch it if you like it, I guess. The issue is, most time when people have problems with these games and these shows, it's because there's a bunch of bullshit revolving around it. I guarantee you that if there wasn't a bunch of ego padding around the Acolyte, a lot of people probably wouldn't have been voicing their opinions. Yeah, of course there still would be some, but there would have been a lot less. Point is, when you're sitting there trying to pad your fucking ego, people are gonna say shit. Nobody gives a fuck about your worldviews. Hell, most of the time, these virtue signaling retards don't even practice the virtues that they signal. So it's like, who the flying fuck are you to tell me what to do? Like, just go live your life how you want to do it, man. Don't tell me what to fucking do. Fuck off.
Tales of the Jedi. So, am I to understand that it's all of the shows? Or
like, if I'm not actively going out of my way to harm other people and I'm just disagreeing on a TV show, you have absolutely no fucking right to dictate my morals. Like, get a fucking life.
could it perhaps be subjective? And why would it be subjective? Well, let's think about it. Maybe the shows just aren't as good as the other ones. Maybe it doesn't run along the pre-established lore or cadence that George Lucas created with Star Wars when he made it. Could that possibly be it? Or are we just picking at random here?
and also, again, like, this is also implying, this is another big issue, is that what this does is it implies that the negativity surrounding the Acolyte was an outcome of the YouTubers talking negatively about it rather than the show being bad. And so what it does is it compartmentalizes criticism as being an outcome of YouTubers who are doing it for making money or some sort of like ulterior motive.
So then why did other shows do well? Well, I got a crazy answer for that. It's not the YouTuber's fault. Your show just sucks. Crazy, I know. Like, I know it's probably hard to, sit down and take it in. But, I mean, at the end of the day, people have criticized literally every media that's out there. So why did some do better than others? Because they were better than others. Ding ding!
And it just so happens that the ones we pick at random, because we don't like the shows, actually end up not doing well in terms of views and get canceled. This We Hate Disney Star Wars, there's no crew for that. It's a we love Star Wars. We love George Lucas.
Yeah, most people, especially people at our age, grew up with Star Wars. Like, we don't hate it. In fact, I loved watching Star Wars as a kid. It was a great movie. All the fucking lightsabers and explosions, man, it was great. It's just, when you actively go out of your way to be a dick, of course people are going to stop liking what you're making. When your whole identity and your whole purpose in producing content is to create an ideology, most people aren't going to sign up for that. We don't hate Star Wars. We hate the people that are turning it into propaganda, essentially.
Lucas Star Wars. And anything that wants to come in there and change that instead of adding to it.
Like, there's a huge spectrum of people that didn't like the prequels. Like Star Wars Episode 1 through 3. I've had conversations with multiple people that thought they were kind of mid. They still did well. And there were a lot of people that liked it. Even when a show is, universally kind of disliked and liked, it still does well when you're not being a virtue signaling psychopath.
Expanding it.
And I'm sure a lot of people are going to fucking make fun of me for this, but I genuinely like the prequels. I kind of like the over-the-top lightsaber battles, all right? Hate me if you will. That's my opinion. I enjoyed it. Plus, the pod racing was fucking mint.
Respect.
Well, why is that a bad thing? If people don't like what Disney is doing with Star Wars, why is that bad?
Then yes, we will dislike that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
We're going to talk about it. This whole idea of, in today's world, it's like, oh, it's really ruining the positivity. Well, you don't have to be positive about something if it isn't good. You don't always.
Yeah, we don't have to be positive about literally everything all the time. Like, sometimes a little negativity helps things improve. But it won't improve if you take that negativity and you just turn it around and twist it into, well, what I'm doing is better than everybody else. So the people that dislike it are just assholes. Well, you're not going to improve and your product's going to fucking fail like it is right now. If you want to sell things, if people don't like what you're selling, wouldn't the common sense thing to do would be to improve the product so that you could sell it? Like, this whole weird thing where developers of shows and games are trying to guilt trip their audience into giving them money. No. That ain't how this works, bitch. You want my money? Give me a fucking reason to give it to you. Fuck off.
Have to be positive. Toxic positivity is the most annoying thing.
I'm not going to pay for something that doesn't have value to me.
Let's say you go to a restaurant and you're eating food and you really don't like it. It's got way too much salt. I dare you not to say anything. Don't be negative. Don't be negative. Enjoy it. Take that frickin' salt and let your kidneys...
Yeah. If you go to a restaurant and you order a steak and they don't cook it well, I guess you got to be a little bitch and fucking eat it. I'm sure the cook was working really hard, and you should be respectful of that, even though you're paying for a fucking service. I'm sure if you take your car to a mechanic and the brakes stop working, well, I guess you need to be respectful of that. He was working really hard. I mean, it sucks he probably drove off a cliff, but like, no, fuck that. If you're paying for something and you're not getting what you're paying for, fucking speak up. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you're going to keep getting shit. You're going to keep going to that same mechanic. You're going to keep having your brakes not work. You're going to keep getting your food made wrong for you because you're too much of a fucking bitch to fucking speak up for yourself. Like, what is this? If I'm giving money for a service, I expect the service to be done the way it's supposed to be done. I don't think that's asking a lot. You know, you're not doing me a favor. I'm paying you. I'm giving you fucking money. Do your fucking job. Or, people aren't going to pay for the service. It's pretty fucking basic. You know, that mechanic that can't fix a person's brakes probably isn't going to get a lot of customers anymore. And if he's going to get mad about it, well, sucks to suck, your business is going to fail, and now you're out of a fucking job. Now, if you had taken the L and maybe learned from your mistakes, you could have fixed it. I don't understand why this is so complicated for these weirdos to understand. Your show is bad, that's why nobody watched it. So maybe, instead of being a fucking bitch about it, make a better show.
Filter it through. Enjoy the high blood pressure, man.
I don't know. It seems like common fucking sense to me, but I guess it ain't common anymore.
I just think that Paul disagrees with this guy and doesn't like him. Right? It's pretty obvious. Yeah, I don't really think it goes that deep. Maybe it does, but he's not in on the conversation.
Alex, take your drink. Okay, you okay?
So then we're essentially living in a world where
What?
this needs to be shut against any sort of human judgment. You cannot judge anything anymore. Everything has to be perfect. Everything is perfect. And there is no such thing as something not being up to par.
Yeah. And then what that's going to do is it's going to open up the world to mediocrity. Nothing is going to be good anymore because nothing is open to criticism anymore. You're not allowed to have an opinion. You get what I get. You get what you get. That sounds like so much fun, right?
You just have to talk about the positive things. I don't believe in that. I believe the best thing in life is to actually look at some of the things that aren't the best and really realize, okay, what can we do to course correct here and make it better? And that's how civilization got better. That's how evolution...
People aren't mad that you're criticizing it. People are mad that you're criticizing the thing that they like for reasons that they think you shouldn't be allowed to criticize.
Well, people thought cars were a bad idea at one point. Guess what we all drive now? If nobody criticized it, the cars wouldn't have gotten better. Same thing, like, if we didn't, if someone didn't question why we're shitting in a fucking hole and didn't criticize that, we wouldn't have goddamn toilets. We'd all be still shitting in a fucking hole. Sometimes criticism is beneficial for improvement.
That's what it really is. I would say that's the fine print, but it's not. It's the bold text. Like, that's the truth. It's that people don't want you to be able to criticize this stuff for reasons that they have deemed to be...
They don't get to dictate that.
Unquestionable.
Cities and technology and everything got...
Well, I hate to break it to these weirdos, but unfortunately, you don't have the power to tell people that. So, get used to it.
better. It's like, well, you know what? I don't like
Sounds like the kid's getting yelled at. Sorry, guys.
like this function, this could be better, that could be better. With everything, that's how things grow and that's how things improve. If everyone was just like, oh, what do you think? Penicillin would be created if people
And
weren't
also, I think that a lot of writers and people...
Yeah, right? Like, imagine if we were just all okay with chickenpox. If no one questioned that, oh, he's got chickenpox. You can't be mad about that. Just die and be happy. What is going on up there? Well, is what it is.
misunderstand the way that the YouTube ecosystem works. So basically, do you want to know the reason why there weren't a lot of popular videos talking about how good the Acolyte was?
Because it
It's
wasn't
because
good.
there weren't a lot of people that thought that it was good.
Yeah.
It's the same reason why there's a lot of videos talking about how good
It's like when IGN said Concord was a 7 out of 10. Really? That must be why it died in 8 days. Nobody is going to pay attention to you if you're being misleading and lying to people. If you're just making a review in order to pad your ego instead of actually bringing up important points, people come to reviews for information, not to be fucking lied to. Like, if you can't even do your job, then of course people aren't going to sign up for that. Like, it still makes me laugh to this day that IGN is so, like, they just, as long as the game checks a few boxes, it's going to be a 7 out of 10. They don't even look at important stuff anymore. Oh, does it include a person of color? Does it have people of mixed genders? Does it have homosexuality? Really? It has all those? Okay, 7 out of 10. Like, that's all they care about now. All of these people care about is virtue signaling, not about having a good quality product anymore. It's all about patting their fucking egos.
Baldur's Gate 3 is and how good Elden Ring is. And there's also a lot of videos
And it's freaking hilarious because they fail every single time. Yet they keep doing it. It's crazy.
talking about how bad Concord was. It's because people are not necessarily going to YouTube to have their opinion defined. They're going to YouTube to have their opinion reinforced. So if you make content that already appeals to a large group of people, then those people are going to say, hey, listen, I agree with this. I'm going to watch this guy. You're validating their opinion. And this is a big problem that a lot of people have in understanding the relationship that content creators have with their audience. Because a lot of people think that the relationship is that the content creator just simply says something and then the audience is like, oh, yeah, true. That's not true.
No.
And you can read any of my comment sections and you...
Oh, yeah, no. Especially when you're talking about things that could potentially drive people into emotional states. You're going to get a lot of mixed... It's going to be a mixed bag on what you're going to receive. But hey, I fucking love that shit. I actually genuinely like seeing other people's different opinions on me. It's fascinating. And I do pay attention. I do take into consideration some that are actually, constructive. Now, if you're a shit-talking retard, well, is what it is.
You'd know that. There are often times where a huge contingency of my audience is disagreeing with me and saying that I'm wrong. And so the moment that you go against for example, true? Yeah, so true, right? The moment that you go against any narrative at all that people have already defined, then I think people get really mad at you. Like, for example, I said whenever the Mr. Beast stuff happened, a lot of people were mad at me because I wasn't taking it.
Well, the way I see it, no matter what you say and no matter what you do, someone's going to be fucking mad about it. People just like getting mad for the sake of being mad. So you know what I say? Fuck them. Fuck them. You want to be mad? Be mad. It's not going to change what I do. Not going to change how I feel about things. It ain't going to change what I say. You want to be mad? Stay mad, bitch.
it more seriously. I said nobody's going to give a fuck about this in a couple of weeks and it's just entertainment. A lot of people got mad. I was right, by the way.
100%. 100%. Yeah, most of this shit, like, most things that people get upset about, if you stop doing it, it goes away, right? Like, most issues that people get upset about, people get bored, and then something new comes out next week that everyone's mad about, and then the thing they were mad about before is old news. But if you keep reigniting it and keep adding to it, people are going to come back. If you want this shit to go away, just shut up. Just stop. You don't want people to hate on your show anymore? Like, the show's already dead. Like, the fact of the matter that people are still bringing it up is fucking funny to me. Like, he's already dead, Jimmy, stop!
You know, that's and why is that? Because that's not the opinion people wanted to hear. The opinion people wanted to hear was, you know, let's burn the witch. That's the reason. Do you Overwatch 2 loot boxes? A lot of people disagreed with you. They did. Disagree with you every once in a while. I don't care because it's usually objective and critical. Well, there's going to be everybody has disagreements. It's not a big deal. Like, it's not even worth talking about. But like, what I'm saying is that,
yeah, it's a normal human thing to have disagreements. It's not harassment when you disagree with somebody. It's harassment when you send death threats because you disagree. But just because you don't agree on someone's standpoint, that's normal. We're all self-thinking, aware people. We have different thought processes. People aren't going to agree with you on everything. And I don't understand why it's becoming such an issue nowadays. Like, what happened? Did we all become pussies in the last 10 years? Like, you can't handle any criticism anymore? What the fuck?
the way that a content creator interacts with their audience is
Like, what are we, 5?
not something that is defined in a way that the content creator dictates to the audience what they think. And I think that in some cases, it's the audience that's dictating what the content creators think. And I think there's even a term for it, audience capture. So it's weird that we even have vocabulary that's been invented for the way that relationships between content creators and audience.
Yeah, you got to be very careful about getting into a parasocial relationship. Like, if you're going to make videos, upload what you want to upload. The audience doesn't get to dictate what you do. Just like these virtue signaling weirdos don't get to dictate how we think.
Audiences have. And somehow we're trying to pretend like this doesn't exist. Very big problem that people have. Confirmation bias, so you are our fault. We're each other's fault. I'll be right back. I need to use the bathroom. I disagree with your take on Resident Evil. Oh, I thought the game was boring. Yeah, true.
Like, at the end of the day, we're all just self-aware animals. Straight up.
Yeah, we good.
You know, we should just enjoy life for the most part and just... What do you, like, how far do you want this to go? Do you want, like, we can
To be fair, that is what people did during COVID. But yeah.
we can take your analogy from movies and we can just go
Yeah.
something ridiculous like that. Where does it
Damn,
end?
this virus
You want
just
us to
sucks.
sit
Yeah,
there,
so anyway.
consume the thing and be happy and repeat and ask for more. No, some people just don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
The Acolyte was almost certainly canceled for an absurdly high budget, reportedly 180 million. And is he repeating himself here? Which third-party estimates have documented as being lower than any other Star Wars series. Yes, still, the cancellation was absolutely celebrated as a win by this YouTube fan crowd.
Well, of course people are going to celebrate because an asshole, whenever you see an asshole get what he deserves, of course people are going to be happy about that. And also, it's going to be used as an example, just like Concord. Whenever something like this happens, it's celebrated because now it's a learning experience.
And what
Well, here's the problem. There is a critical question that's not being answered. Why was the viewership low?
I don't know. Maybe because the show was bad? No, it couldn't be.
Low viewership doesn't just like happen.
Right?
Like it isn't like, there's the viewership fairy and it's like, well,
The viewership.
fate is fickle. No.
The viewership there.
There's a reason why it was very low.
They believe is vindication of their hate.
Yeah, and this crazy thought that some weird middle-aged man on the internet is going to dictate how people see a show is crazy. Like, they're going to watch it whether they like it or not. You think people are going to listen to dipshits like us? You know, we provide some information, and then they decide based on that whether they like it or not. Or, sorry, we give information, and then they decide based on that if they're... fucking Christ, my brain. They're going to decide to go watch the show, and then they'll decide whether they like it or not. It's pretty simple. You know, whenever I'm looking into buying a video game, I'll go watch someone's review or watch someone play it first, and then I don't give a flying fuck about their opinion on it. I'm visualizing whether I want to buy it or not. The opinions, it's nice to hear them, but at the end of the day, if I'm going to decide to purchase something, it's because I want to. You know, people can say what they want to say, but at the end of the day, you're a grown-ass adult. You're able to pick and choose what you want to do. And some weirdos on the internet are going to change that.
Hate campaign against the show. It's not vindication.
Well, and this is again, and you can see how at the beginning something is introduced as a accusation, and then later on in the article, it's established as a fact.
And they like to use words like vindication and hate campaign. Well, at first it was constructive criticism. Now it's a hate campaign, so you're right now. But it was only after you guys were being such dickheads. Of course everyone's fucking clowning on you now.
You see how this happens is like it's introduced as an accusation to have the reader let their guard down and accept what they're reading, and then later on it presupposes...
Yeah, again, you'll use strong words, you'll confuse small brain.
this is in fact what happened. It's again misleading
Eight
language.
strong
It's building
together.
a lot. Yes, right. Exactly. Still, the cancellation was absolutely celebrated as a win. Yeah, because it was a win. That's the reason why it was celebrated as a win. Yeah, it's because they won. Like the show got canceled. It's dead.
Yeah.
W. That's it.
A
Yeah.
hate campaign.
It
Well,
was a
it's
win.
hate campaign. It's being
Right.
happy that something
You took the L.
did not pass,
Everybody
and
else got the W.
disrespected the lore.
Of course they're
disrespected
gonna
George
celebrate.
Lucas, and just overall was a really convoluted mess of a show. I mean, that's really all it is. It's not that deep, man. I don't know, it's just a bad show. Shows get canceled all the time. If Amanda Stenberg says she experienced
Yeah, shockers. Lesbian space witches didn't catch on.
lots of racism before and during the airing of the series, she is not lying. And there are multiple examples of racism against other actors of color in Star Wars, from John Boyega to Moses Ingram.
Yeah, one of those acts of racism was by Disney, by changing his character and making it smaller on the Chinese posters for the movie. So you want to talk about being racist against John Boyega, who, by the way, is a great actor. I think he's great. I wasn't he in Attack the Block back in the day? That was the first time I think I saw him. Like that's the real problem. Yeah, he was so good. I've known about this guy for years.
And I would say the biggest one was Disney, who shrunk John Boyega down to posters.
There it is. There it is. And I agree, man. He was an awesome actor. Like, I really liked watching that Star Wars movie. I kind of liked him more than I liked Rey. Straight up.
Oh man, good one. Real good one. Yeah, true.
Yeah, Finn was a cool character.
Look what they did with Chadwick Boseman.
And he did a
Black
great job
Panther.
acting
I
as
think
Finn.
they just tried to really purport this narrative, and it can be called out so easily and dismissed.
You want to talk about the racist bigot agenda? If an actor's good at what they do and they're good at acting, people are gonna like them. Weird. It's like when someone's good at the job that they're doing, they respect it.
Mantled with facts because they're all out there. This is not opinion. This is this guy's opinion. And in fact, he's not even getting the
People want to speak about growing as a person. Maybe you should grow into doing your job.
facts straight about certain things. He's just misleading stuff.
Yeah.
So I think these writers and these publications are just so full of it because there's nothing actually genuine about them. It's very disingenuous.
No.
And I'm calling it all out
I do
here.
think that this article is disingenuous. At the beginning, I was trying to defend it because at the beginning, I thought that it was fair, and then it changed from being fair to building on accusations, and then
Yeah, you can definitely tell that the author who wrote this started off being logical, and as he went on writing it, he got more and more emotional.
creating narratives around them just being assumed to be true. Then you listened? Well, of course, right? That's what I do, is I read something and then I make a decision based off of what I read.
Yeah, and I think more people need to do that. Instead of taking things out of context all the time, maybe pay attention, listen, read, and then come up with your own conclusion based off of that. Man, I posted my one video on Facebook there, and I made obviously a clickbaity title, and it was very, very funny to see how many people got offended by it. You could tell that nobody watched the video, or those people didn't actually watch the video. They seen the title, got triggered, and wrote a shitty comment. One guy was even like, "Oh, gay people don't look like that." Yeah, bro, that was brought up in the video. Like, it literally stated that these virtue signaling weirdos are taking gay people and stereotyping them. And I literally stated in the video, not all gay people look like this. In fact, most of them don't. But he seen the title, got triggered, and called me a fucking bigot. Shocker. People are very quick to jump to emotional responses on things instead of actually paying attention, and I think that's a huge problem. But it also gets more engagement, so I don't know, I'm kind of farming it at the same time.
I try not to say something is biased before it's biased, and I try not to say something that isn't biased. That isn't biased until I can prove that, right? I think that's the way that you should think. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
One by one.
Like, I got a really good example. I remember in high school when Twilight came out, and you had a huge amount of people that didn't even watch the movie, and they were just hating on it because it was popular. Now, mind you, I went and watched the movie, and it was, yeah, it was bad. But at the very least, if you're going to have opinions on something, I believe you should at least understand what you're getting upset about. Like, I don't know, shocker, right? Maybe know what the fuck you're talking about before you talk about something. Weird, right?
It would be very, very difficulty to mount any sort of campaign to prove to a giant corporate blob like YouTube. I'm going to talk about corporate blob, bro. What Forbes is turning into. Forbes used to be a publication that actually meant something, but now they have half-bit writers like you out there spreading misinformation. I mean,
I think that they need to up their game on the propaganda. I think that this propaganda is way too surface level. I think Paul can do a better job writing it. And there are other ways that you can imply this kind of stuff that's more subversive and less easy to tell. It's weak as fuck propaganda. Yeah, Goebbels would be, he would... he would not approve of this. Neither would Stalin. Yeah, they're like, this is... Oh, you're not even...
Oh, come on. You can't expect mediocre people like this to come up with... They couldn't even write a good show. You want them to write good propaganda? Like, come on, dude.
Trying. Come on. Yeah, you're getting fired. This is nothing. Come on. Yeah, to the gulag? Yeah, exactly. Gerbil? Yeah, you could ask the guy I banned earlier. He knows all about him.
scroll up, man. just to purport your narrative. That's ridiculous. That's not journalism. That's not seeing things from a side of fairness and balance. This isn't.
Well, that's the whole point. They don't want to see things from other people's standpoint because their standpoint's the right one, and everybody who disagrees is a racist, bigot asshole. I thought that was the core of the issue here.
Balanced journalist who obviously has some sort of agenda against YouTubers and against.
I think it does really damage a person's credibility when they try to establish themselves as a neutral source and then they try to inject their bias in the conflict. So this happens a lot in media. I think that in politics it's extremely defined. But in general, I find this to be incredibly problematic. Because the issue isn't that you're biased. The issue is that you are establishing yourself as being unbiased. And you're like, let's talk about what happened. And you're not really talking about what happened. You're talking about who's right with what happened. That's where the issue is. What's wrong with gerbils? They hate Jews.
Wait, what?
Be careful, man.
Gerbils are
People
racist.
that didn't like what he liked. I guess they're all racist and they need to be deplatformed.
Yeah.
Corporate blob like YouTube that that specific Star Wars channels are breaking. You know, the only Star Wars channel he spoke about here was me, Paul, bro. Like, what's your are breaking?
It would be very difficult. It would be very difficult to mount any sort of campaign to prove to a giant corporate blob like YouTube that specific Star Wars channels are breaking TOS due to racism and harassment, as evidenced by that 13 minutes later response.
Yeah, but see, YouTube reviewed those things and didn't find any evidence of racism harassment, so you're the only one who sees it. Weird.
So we're going to go ahead and look at this. Let's see here. Yeah, we're going to look at this part right here. And I'm going to show you guys kind of how this happens again. So you have things like giant corporate blob. And this
Giant
is being
corporate
used
blob,
to degrade the quality of assessment that YouTube is making. And it's trying to make YouTube less qualifiable to make this judgment. And then also you have the 13 minutes later auto response. And this again ties back into the giant blob idea. So you're using this language to create a narrative that YouTube did not properly evaluate the topic, and that YouTube would, and the implication, of course, YouTube would.
And it's really weird that this person's hyper fixated on YouTube not enforcing their TOS. Out of every platform I've ever dealt with, other than maybe Facebook, YouTube is very strict on enforcing their TOS. Like, they're on that shit. Like a fly on turd. Like, all I'm saying is, man, like, you say no words, you'd get demonetized. I'm pretty sure that if there was racism or harassment in someone's videos, they would have been taken down. 100%. I think this person is confusing constructive criticism and disagreement with hate crimes. It's not a very healthy way to think.
If they had fully evaluated it, get them in trouble. That's clearly what the assessment is. You see how this happens.
You know, the only Star Wars channel he spoke about here was me, Paul, bro. Like, what's your hard on with me for? You're just freaking
he
upset.
does seem very
I
hyper
guess, maybe this is
fixated
getting
on
you
him.
views. I'm not sure. I don't know. I can make a video on anything.
It is. Guaranteed it is.
It'll do fine. So I know that's what you're going to go to. Like,
Yeah.
You're getting views off my article. Absolutely, bro. You're calling me out. You started it. What do you want? Fair game, baby. Game is game. Corporate blogs like YouTube that specific Star Wars channels are breaking terms of service due to racism or harassment. Again, another lie.
And this is again another assumption. See, again, you have three things that are happening, right? I just want you guys to understand what's happening here. Alleged racism and harassment by fans. So it starts here. and then it goes to
Has him on in his fucking his
racism
beautiful art.
and harassment by fans, and then it goes to racism and harassment by YouTubers. And you see how the article has followed, how it's followed this train of thought. You see how it happens? And once you start to see this, it becomes evident everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Evidence. Please show me the evidence of me being racist or showing harassment or sending harassment to anyone. I would say it's actually what you do to YouTubers. Me,
Yep.
as evidenced by that 13 minutes later.
Well, and that's another big thing. Most of these people who throw around words like racism and transphobe and all this stuff are mirroring what they actually are. Like, it's projection. The people that call other people racist are like the biggest racists themselves. It's crazy. You know, it's a you know, the pot calling the kettle black, man. Like,
No one's being harassed. He's not being harassed. Paul isn't being harassed. The people at the Acolyte aren't being harassed. They're just being disagreed with.
yeah.
And we live in a world that is so bubble wrapped and padded and kept safe that when somebody experiences a disagreement, they interpret it as harassment.
Yep.
Nobody here is being harassed by any content creator. They're being disagreed with.
It's so
Again,
cringe.
Another lie. That
So
response
pathetic.
was done after a day's work of them investigating. So it could have been hours. They fully took a day. Not because it's not true necessarily, but getting anyone other than some keyword searching robot to examine this closely is near impossible. They had actual responses. I mean, look at Molly's response.
Man, the cope is real with this person.
Well, you
responses
could
to-
easily tell whether it was a real response or not, because if you look at the way that the way that YouTube does, because YouTube does have bot replies. But if you search the YouTube bot replies, the language and the syntax is one for one. So you can tell that it's a bot reply because that language has been used by YouTube in previous circumstances, because the same bot is going to generate the same information based off of the same outcome. Logical, right? So if you can't look this up and find that there's a bunch of other comments that are made exactly like this, then you should immediately think it probably wasn't because it was a bot.
Well, and let's be realistic. Of course they have bot responses. YouTube can't address every shit-talking retard that comes to them. So they have to use a bot to filter out the retards. That wasn't a bot response. Like, I'm sure they take claims of racism and harassment very seriously, and they will investigate that themselves. You know, it's not like, oh, well, someone said the F-bomb. No, like, if you're claiming someone is being racist towards you, I'm sure YouTube takes that very seriously.
YouTube and YouTube's responses to her. And that was clearly a person that checking something out. And
don't get it twisted. It's not because YouTube cares or has any moral values. It's just racism is bad for brand, right? Like, if you have a bunch of people being racist on your platform, advertisers are going to steer away, right? So they're going to shut that down right away because it's going to affect their income.
they responded to a few of these people that tried to deplatform all of us.
And that's how you know it's serious.
In the end, this was the final response. I mean, I don't know what you want, bro. Sour grapes. And you tried to take people's livelihoods away under the guise of being racist, and you failed. And now you want to say it's a bot response when it's clearly right. The date is right there, bro. They took a full day to actually figure out, but you're saying it's minutes. There's also a fine line between what you can prove to YouTube as overt racism or targeted harassment and people just being awful in general. You're one to talk.
Well, and this is
Yeah,
again,
no shit,
another example, right? Being awful in general. This is an assumption that's being made. Yeah, this is, again, it's an assumption that's being made based off of this.
which is allowed frequently on the platform. There will likely be nothing to stop this large group of YouTubers
Yeah.
and their large audiences. I cannot think of other examples of fandom where a toxic portion
Yes, the YouTubers and their armies are coming for you. Oh my god.
has simply been wiped off the map in any meaningful way. Wow, dude. Those karma points are really adding up for you right now, eh? Maybe the worst offenders sometimes, but rarely. It just doesn't really happen. It's more pronounced here because Star Wars is one
Well,
of the...
it's, again, to stop this large group of YouTubers and their large... Well, and this is the thing. I cannot think of other examples where a fandom has had a toxic portion simply be wiped out. So it's basically you're establishing the subject, which is a large group of YouTubers and their audiences, and then you're attributing a attribute to that group, the toxic portion, where a toxic portion is, right? So, like, he's defining them, and it's like, I have no problem with Paul coming out and saying, yeah, this is what I think about this. This is where I'm at. But, like, don't go and try to talk about, like, you're not giving a fair shake of this.
worst manifestations of this, other than, say, MCU haters who spent 100 videos on their channels going
Fair.
after Brie Larson. It may not
You think
surprise
these
that
people
there is
give a fuck
significant
about
overlap
fair?
in these channels. You cannot...
And this is, again, the assumption is that, you know, these people are being sexist. Right? There's clearly the implication of that. He's talking
Buzzwords.
about, like, the quartering and stuff like that. Quartering, like, Jeremy made, like, 50 videos about her. I watched, like, 2 of them. I don't even know. Brie Larson, because racism, huh? Yeah, and also I think that, yeah, Brie Larson's white, so it's like, if this is really a racist problem, then why is... So there's a big overlap in these channels. Well, if racism is the reason why they're harassing this woman, then wouldn't there not be an overlap?
rely on Disney to back up its harassed actors like they should, and you cannot
Racist
rely on
answer.
YouTube to
There
do
you go.
anything useful here.
Yes.
They are corporations. They care about money
Yeah.
above everything else, and they rarely will ever listen to fans.
Can't forget to
over
check all
issues
the
like
boxes
this.
when you're
Well,
talking
again,
about
it's
stuff,
the
right?
money. And I would argue that if you take money out of the whole equation and views and clout and all that stuff and all that was invisible,
Yeah.
would this still matter to them so much? Would they still be talking about money constantly? It's all about money. What does the money have to do with anything, any of the merit that we're actually saying in our videos? At least
Well, the reason why they're talking about money is because money is the reason why everything here exists.
Yeah.
Money is the oxygen for content on the internet. If you can't make money with content, you can't make as much content.
No, exactly.
So then that's the reason, is that people want to attack somebody else's financing because that's the easiest way to get them to stop talking about something.
yeah, it's a very basic war tactic. If you want to cripple an army, well, you take their funding. That way they can't, they can't equip, they can't, like you take away an army's food and money, well, then they'll slowly die off, right? You want to stop something, you essentially just suffocate it, right? And that's what these people do. As soon as you disagree with them, they try to take your money away. That way, you have to... What's the word? You have to scramble and essentially... Now you got to focus on fixing your financial situation, and now you can't have more time to actually doing the thing that these people hate.
Thing that you don't like. It's that simple. They don't have money or jealous. Well, I think honestly, everybody is making content for money. Like this ad that is on Forbes, or this this article that's on Forbes probably has ads all over it. There's probably dozens of ads. Probably not a dozen, but probably like 5 or 6 ads that's on just this one article. So of course that's what happens.
Yeah, like what's this weird fixation people have? Like, oh, you're just doing it for money. Yeah, no shit. Like, don't most people do most things in order to get money? Like, why would you be doing something for free? Of course people are doing this for money. Like, what a weird thing to try to use as an insult. Like, yeah, no shot. Fucking pay me or shut up.
In my videos. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Well, you're such a stand-up guy because you don't do anything for money. It's not like you're misinforming people.
Well,
and-
Paul's doing it for money too. We're all doing it for money.
We all
Like, to
here
act like
for the
one person's
dollars.
doing it for money. Everybody's content's monetized. Like, my videos are monetized. His are monetized. Paul's articles are monetized. His videos, I think, are monetized too because he records videos too. What are we doing?
literally flat out lying and saying that people should lose their jobs
Yeah.
because you don't agree with their takes on movies and shows. Wow. What a person. So yeah, I don't have much hope anything here changes. Not that the movement isn't justified.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
shit,
the bigger
okay, doubling
person.
down.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
the
wreck
other
your
thing
life.
That's happened. But any actual result seems effectively impossible.
Not that the movement isn't justified given everything that's happened. Given everything that's happened. And what's happened? Oh, that's right. There are no examples. This is like one of the chatters. Well, you're wrong all the time. Like when?
When? Huh, well,
It's all the time.
well,
But you got everything. Like what? Everything.
man, you're an asshole. Well, why? Well, you know, it's like you're stupid. I might be an asshole, but you're a fucking idiot. Like, if you can't even come up with an example as to why you have this response, then I ain't gonna fucking deal with you. You're just a shit talking retard.
Thing.
Possible. Well,
Yeah.
thanks, Paul Tassi. I hope you have a great day, and I hope you make another article so I can break that shit down and expose more of your lies.
Yes,
and
please
more
do.
Of your defamatory.
This is
remarks
great.
And slander. Have a great day.
I have literally gotten more entertainment out of the Acolyte by it being bad. It's hilarious. I'm having more fun by not watching the show. You know your show's bad when people are having more fun not watching it.
And anyone
don't
else
think that anybody
who
is
thinks
slandering
having
anybody.
a voice and having an opinion has to be on the same lines as every other human being. And I'm here to say that I think
And
it
by
is
the way, this is the reason why all journalism is the same, especially with games journalism. It's because the moment that somebody steps off of the accepted type of thought, they are attacked.
Yep.
And they're deplatformed and they're demonetized and
all
they're,
racist bigots.
you know, mischaracterized massively. This is the reason why if you look at IGN, Polygon, Forbes, you know, any of these different publications, they all have the exact same opinions. It's because when you don't have that exact same opinion that they have, they categorize you as racist, that you hate women, or that
It's basically fall in line or shut up is essentially what these people do. If you step out of line, you in big trouble. Do as I do as I say.
that you are somehow a bigot or a person that is a problem in one way or another. And that's why you have only one group of people that's speaking about this.
Yeah.
Fall in line or get demonetized? Yep, there you go. Accepted is a strong word. It's more radical than accepted. Well, it's accepted inside of their sphere of things, right? They're using fascist tactics in terms of equality. Well, this is what happens, right? Is if you speak out against it, you get in trouble, and they try to get you demonetized.
Well, come after
This
me,
is
bro.
why you only see one form of journalism. It's because that the existing
I ain't afraid of a bunch of weirdos that got bullied in high school that have some weird worldviews. I don't think a lot of people are. And I think that's what bothers these people the most is that they, deep down, they know they have absolutely no power. That's why they have to try to essentially get you fired from your job.
you know, kind of the main one is constantly being used to suppress the other types of thinking.
totally acceptable as long as you were respectful to dismantle whatever form of media or art that you wish. Why didn't you like it? Why did you think it was shit?
Yeah, exactly.
Why didn't it resonate with you? At the end of the day, art is created to evoke some sort of...
Yeah, and the funniest thing is, people have stated very specifically the things they don't like about the show, and then these weirdos just completely gloss over it and are like, and then they just find whatever straw man arguments they can to pull an argument out of their ass and say, well, you just don't like the show for this stupid reason. It's like, no, we literally said why we don't like this show. You just refuse to fucking listen because these people live their life with their head shoved so far up their ass that the only thing they can see is their own shit.
Sort of emotion from the viewer, and that is subjective. If it made you feel a certain way, type of way, why?
Yeah.
And I believe in my YouTube videos, I very respectfully and eloquently discuss that, I'd say, for the most part. So, hey,
Oh yeah,
keep
he's 100%
conversing.
You should
way
never
more.
try to defend yourself against people like this, because
Yep.
when you defend yourself, you're now playing their game.
Yeah, the second you have to try to defend yourself, you're already losing because you're admitting guilt. Just fuck them. Like I said, people want to get mad, they can fucking stay mad. I don't give a flying fuck. Don't ever apologize. I mean, unless you're doing something that requires an... Okay, hang on. Don't take that out of context. Don't apologize when you're not doing anything wrong. Okay? Like, if you're just uploading content or an opinion, you have no reason to apologize for that. Now, obviously, if you are genuinely being a racist if you're genuinely being a racist asshole, then yes, apologize. Like, or, you know, do everybody a favor and just don't upload content because nobody wants to deal with your shit. But at the end, like, shit like this, there's nothing to fucking apologize for. Like, you're not doing anything wrong. You're not harming anybody. The only person that is upset is the person that wrote this article, and he's only hurting himself by having this live in his fucking head.
I don't think that Star Wars Theory should try to defend what he said, because the moment that you defend it, now you are giving it oxygen.
Yeah.
That's why, like, if somebody calls me, like, racist or sexist or, like, I hate any group of people, I say, yeah, sure.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
Because, like, the moment that you start fighting against it, this is, like, it's a human psychology thing. People think that if you fight against something, it means that it's true.
Yeah.
Out there.
The second you have to defend yourself is essentially you admitting guilt. So if someone calls you something and you're trying to defend yourself, it just looks bad. And then all that's going to happen is now they're going to think they won, and they're going to laugh at you. People call me fucking names all the damn time, and literally it's just like, okay, cool, bro. Whatever, dude. And that'll drive them crazier than you trying to explain yourself. Once you remove the power from the assholes, they get even more mad, and it's now you can start laughing. Don't ever give in to dicks.
Keep talking about what you like and what you don't like. Don't feed into this
Yeah, to
toxic
defend it is to
positivity
admit guilt.
bullshit.
Exactly.
Humans
Yeah.
are made to judge things. We are given brains to have a preference about different things. Don't be racist. Don't hurt anybody. Don't be disrespectful.
Yeah.
But if you didn't like a piece of art, you are more than entitled to your opinions.
Yeah, the way I see it, if you're not disrespecting anybody, you should be allowed to voice your opinion. Like, you're not attacking someone's personal appearance. You're not attacking their skin color. You're not attacking their sexual orientation. If you're just having an opinion on a TV show, there's nothing wrong with that. You're allowed to not like something. Like, it's not like the TV show has feelings. It's not like it's the only people that feel like they're being harmed by this are the people that get in their own heads over it and stress themselves out.
And that's all I have to say about this. Hope you guys have a great day. Be respectful out there. Be good. And always talk your shit. Love you guys. May the force be with you.
I didn't expect to watch this entire thing. I really didn't. The reason why I sat through it is that I I have a personal vendetta against writing that I feel like is misleading.
I wouldn't call it a personal vendetta. I think most people are just getting sick and tired of this. Essentially, it's just ridiculousness. It's crazy. And people are just sick and tired of these weirdos who use this kind of language to feed their egos and think that they're better than everybody else. It's like, come on, dude. Come on.
And I feel like it's propaganda. This is a personal vendetta that I have.
And yeah, it is 100% propaganda. Like, they're trying to dictate social norms in a way that fulfills their weird worldviews. And they're using video games and TV shows in order to spread their essentially, again, propaganda, toxic positivity. It's not really working, but essentially, I think people are just getting a little sick and tired of having their entertainment used as a propaganda vehicle. Like, we just want to watch a TV show, bro. We don't give a fuck about your worldviews. When you're sitting down on the couch, you've probably already dealt with all your responsibilities, all your priorities for the day, and you just want to be entertained by something. Like, you're trying to relax, essentially, and then you get a bunch of these fucking weirdos who are trying to dictate your social norms by using TV shows. It's like, bro, fuck off. We're tired of it. Just give us our fucking entertainment back. You want to get into trying to dictate social norms? Well, there's a way to do that. It's called politics. It's called running for office. But these fucking people aren't going to do that because they're fucking lazy.
And I get hyper fixated on it because I hate it. I absolutely hate it, and I see
annoying.
it in every
It's
form of
very
media
annoying.
nowadays. Whether it's on television, whether it's written, whether it's on YouTube or anything like that. I see these biases, and what really makes me mad, as I said before, is not the fact, and it's becoming less true every day, but for the most part, the reason why these things happen is because they work. This type of propaganda and misinformation is extremely effective, and that's the reason why these articles are written this way. People wouldn't be using the same propaganda techniques for 50 years.
I guess that's a good point. They wouldn't keep doing it if it wasn't working. Oh, I guess I was wrong. But in a sense, if you're not stupid, this stuff's not going to work on you. It essentially, if your IQ is that above that of a fucking 5-year-old, you're probably not going to see buzzwords and stuff like this and change how you live your life. And people who use this type of language, these kind of buzzwords, that's all I gotta say. But anyway, that was Star Wars fandom Civil War, I guess. I don't fucking know, dude. Yeah. This was a long one, but hey, those are just my thoughts. I know this took quite a turn, and man, it's just never ending with these developers, man. Non-stop. Just take the L, man. Like, your show was bad. Scrap it, start over, make a new show. Like, there's no reason to keep beating a dead horse.